Good evening, everyone. Dear esteemed guests, commissioners, leaders, and scouts. I'm really honored today about the opportunity to speak in Colombo Scouts' third youth forum. My topic is twofold. First part is about the importance of youth involvement in decision making, and the second one is how do you maximize such an opportunity when given. 12 or 13 years ago, when I was a young scout, and maybe I still am young and stupid, I basically thought I knew everything. So I think I can offer a unique perspective on the topic of youth involvement in decision making. Young people in decision making is a topic that is something similar to environmental conservation or animal cruelty. You actually can't see another side of it because it's like obvious, right? You need young people in decision making. Or is it? It looks obvious, but let me offer the slightly different point of view. From a petrol leader to a president of a country, whatever decision you make, obviously the better the decision you make, the positively it's going to affect the people around you directly and indirectly. Basically, a decision is good as the people who make it. Okay, now the question is, how do you know a decision is good or bad? Because you don't know a decision is good or bad until you execute it and see the results. But there is another way. If you have a lot of experience, then you can actually judge a decision and say this is good or bad to some degree of certainty. But how do you get experience? As Mark Twain said, experience mostly comes from bad decisions and learning from it. So basically, by that logic, and if that is the case, the senior you are or more older you are, the more experience you have, and better the decisions that you make. As better decisions benefit everyone, the senior people should make all the decisions. Well, if that is true, and I believe it is, if a young person wants to come into that table and make a decision, I call it earning a seat at the table. If you are young and want to make some decisions on behalf of everyone else, you better earn that seat at the table. Because if you make a decision without any experience, it's going to negatively affect everyone. So if you want to be involved in decision making, you have to earn it. Like, think about it practically. If you are a third party affected by someone else's decision, don't you want that decision to be the best possible decision, regardless of the age, gender, or race of the decision maker? So that's called earning a seat at the table. You need to add value to your seat, right? You have to bring something. You have to make the decision a little bit better. Otherwise, you have no seat there. Don't come with an entitled mindset that I am young and young people should get these seats, so I want to make some decisions, right? So I remember 12, 13 years ago, when I was doing scouting, I gave my heart and soul to scouting, right? It was my first priority, no matter what is going on in my life. So if there's a family trip and scouting camp, you know what I would choose. And I'm sure most of you here can relate, right? And because of that, I believe that I deserved a seat at the table, but it is not necessarily true. Okay, so at the same time, let me bring up something else, right? As an adult or as an experienced decision maker, bringing young people into decision making table is beneficial in multitude of ways, right? At the least, passing the baton because you are not going to live forever. And there are so many environmental variables and world is rapidly changing. Your experience doesn't cut it anymore. So you need new blood, you need fresh perspectives. So as a senior person who is already at the decision-making table, it is always good to give more and more opportunities to young people, obviously. But as a young person, because this is a youth forum, you can't offer any new way of thinking or a fresh perspective if you don't even know what the old way of thinking is. As the famous saying goes, you need to learn to follow before you lead. So as a youngster, observe the decision making process, watch from afar and think about the situation and think, I will make this decision at this point, but what did the decision makers did? What is the what is the final decision that they made, and what are the differences, and what are the reasons for those differences. That's how you slowly groom yourself to become a decision maker or a leader. You need to understand what is happening and think of how to improve it by adding actual value. Otherwise, you are just yelling. Like, it's easy to yell. Like, when you are young, you want to change the system, right? The country's education system or the governance system. And anyone can list out all the flaws in a system because there are no perfect systems. But if you really want to make a difference, and you want to, like, you have to learn the current structure and how it works, and find it flaws and propose a practical new solution. And also you need to say why your proposed solution is better and how it wouldn't indirectly negatively affect any other structures. Otherwise, you're just yelling and not adding any value. So basically, it's obviously very important to have young people involved in decision making. But as youth, we should never think of it as an entitlement or we deserve it. We should always try to earn it. Prove yourself, and that is your personal responsibility. In my second part of the speech, I'm going to talk to you about how do you actually earn it and how do you maximize that opportunity when it is given to you. So at the moment, I sit in few director boards in companies in Australia and Ireland. And I'm very proud to say that I'm the youngest member of all those boards. So I actually practice what I preach here. So I have a kind of obvious three-step plan to know the way of earning a seat at the table. But I may be wrong, but it has worked for me so far. The first thing is about the mindset, right? So you need to be ready for failure. Because if you are a young person sitting at a grown-up table and people are making decisions, most of the things will go over your head. And if everything goes over your head, then you are not ready for that table. But obviously, some of the things will go, and it is the nature of it, and it is part of the process. And you have to admit it and then move on. You move on, but then you do the second thing. The second thing is you work as hard as you can, because there is no way by doing the same thing you can catch up to those senior people. You have to work twice as hard, thrice as hard, and learn what they know, right? Because everyone around you will say it is acceptable that you don't know that because you are young, but it shouldn't be acceptable to you. What you should do is the third thing: continuous learning, right? That is all about looking at your pile of things that you don't know that you don't know, and bring it into the pile that you know that you don't know. So when you know the things that you don't know, now can actually go to each individual one and start learning them. So how do you do that? Like, you talk to experienced people, you read books, you read blogs, you watch videos, basically consume quality content. Information is free and available. You have to use it to your advantage. So when you have the right mindset and you work hard, you learn continuously, and you reduce the pile of unknowns, you are going to be competent enough to earn that seat at the table. The more competent you are, the more confidence you are going to be. So when you have the confidence to make those decisions, you are going to be in the same level as those people with a lot of experience. I myself is still in this journey, and I'm sure there'll be a certain point that you yourself is going to be one of the experienced people at the table. So when that happens, you need to look around and see promising youngsters and give them opportunities. And by the way, you have a fantastic advantage here because you have been making decisions that affects other people from grade 7, 8, 9, right? You know how to be a leader, and you know that bad things happen to yourself and the people around you when you make bad decisions. You are a scout. Understand that you already ahead of the curve, right? And by working hard and learning continuously, you can actually go to the decision making level and change the world for the better. I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity. I hope all of you guys took something out of it, and please reach out to me later if you have any questions. The higher up you go, it's harder and harder to earn a seat at the table. And I hope all of you can work hard, learn continuously, and earn the seat at the highest tables and make decisions for the betterment of the entire world. Happy hunting. See you.